One. Hi, it's Kit Alowitz with another Leadership Journey video segment today. Today I've got in the studio none other than Manuel York, expert monkey chaser. Welcome to the show, Manuel.
Hi, Kit. That's a great introduction.
Well, Manuel and I have been working together for quite some time, and I've come to really respect and admire, and really am fascinated with his skill set. So Manuel has worked for 30 years in helping organizations succeed. Manuel is a trade lawyer with decades of experience in trade negotiations. Manuel has worked with Anderson Hauser now for well over a decade, teaching, facilitating, training, and helping us evolve our thinking and habits around having or how to have high courage conversations. Manuel also, as a side note, is an author of an astounding 8 books, and a number of the titles are in English, with titles such as The People Effect and Naked Sales. Today, I'd like to introduce Manuel about being what we're calling a monkey chaser. Now, the term monkey was first, or monkey chaser, or a concept of monkey was first popularized and mainstreamed by Ken Blanchard in his book with a couple other authors in 1989. It was called The 1 Minute Manager Meets the Monkey. The book describes the behavior and choice of a leader and manager who knowingly or even unconsciously agrees to take actions and responsibilities from employees and do them instead of keeping those things where they belong with the employee as appropriate. So, Manuel, this notion of the monkeys and being a monkey chaser, it's actually very fascinating to me. And so I had a handful of questions that I wanted to ask you today. Will that be okay?
Yeah, please go ahead. I'm looking forward.
Okay.
It's
Well, the
always,
first question,
always fun. Come on.
yes. Well, the first question is, tell us a little bit about this notion of the manager and the monkey.
This is it's actually a funny thing. The truth is, my whole business would be below 50% if there wouldn't be monkeys around. So monkeys are actually everywhere, and this is where I chase them and where I come into the play when companies book me. Um, and my job is to bring them back to the owner, and unless actually if the owner, the true owners, are not in the high ranks and have me fired before I got the monkey moving because nobody likes to get a monkey back. Literally everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, that makes me think of this. What is the rub between the monkey being tossed between the manager and the follower? Where's the rub in that?
Well, a monkey is, as you said, a job that is hopefully clearly assigned to someone, to a certain person and role. And this person then in the end is not doing the job according to the assignment. Now, for whatever reason. And this creates a vacuum. And in a perfect world, the manager and the employee, they would sit together, they would address the fact, and then they would kind of reorganize it and get the monkey back where it belongs, meaning that everybody is doing the work they are assigned for. But this is just in a perfect world. Um, Very often, this is felt like an uncomfortable conversation with an uncertain outcome. And now the brain kicks in, and in the imagination of the manager, it paints this conversation in the wildest colors. And then this interesting phenomenon occurs that people, managers as well as peers, when they have to address that, they they get a certain fear of this uncertainty. And then the reaction is a normal amygdala reaction in our brain is to fight, flee, freeze, appease, or avoid the conversation. And and in the meantime, the monkey is still is happily living ever after. And and on the other hand, the manager knows that if the monkey is somewhere, the job will be done somehow. So monkeys actually maybe sometimes don't really create a sense of urgency because someone is taking care of it, just the wrong person. And the person will then have probably an overload and no longer be able to do his own job. And and then it becomes complicated. kind of a chain reaction that you have to kind of take back. And this is at this point, many managers avoid the complexity and the difficulty of such a conversation.
Yeah, that makes sense. And we've talked at length, and you deliver some really great classes about this weird phenomenon that exists around having high courage conversations. So I'd like to ask you next, why does the monkey phenomenon, if that's the right word, why does it exist?
Well, first of all, what I would like to make sure is I don't want to sound too critical, because I think most of the reasons are just human. So it's not a lack, sometimes it's a lack of competence if someone isn't able to fulfill his assignment. But normally people that you recruit are able to do things so that otherwise they wouldn't be on board. So it's most of the time not so much a matter of competence. It has different reasons. Number one is actually you would not have monkeys if in an organization all, and I really repeat, all roles and responsibilities would be defined and agreed upon 100% clearly, with no misunderstandings and gray areas. And let's be serious, this doesn't exist, and this will never exist. I think this is it's just impossible. An organization is too complex to manage this. It always will have gray areas. And then you have every day some kind of a bomb explodes, something that happens, something that you have to fix, and all of a sudden your schedule gets confused. So we never work in a continuous kind of straightforward working process. We always have to deal with interruptions. So this is basically the gap or the crack where the monkeys slip through. So this is number one. And the number two is actually a nice one. We all want to be helpful. We all want to be cooperative. We want to be good colleagues. So there's lots of areas where we can help and join forces. And this is what we want. And this is what an organization also needs. And it is at the same time very difficult to make the judgment at what point helpfulness becomes a monkey. Now that's very difficult to say. Just think about a friend asks you to take his dog over the weekend, and you would say probably yes to help him out. And next Monday he says, hey, wait, there's something else happening and I need you to take care of the dog another day. And you would happily do that. But if you after 3 weeks still have the dog, you all of a sudden have a monkey dog. And it's very difficult to say at what point the dog turned into a monkey. So this is also a gray area. So, and this is helpfulness very often turns into monkeys, and it's very difficult to sense that. Looking back, we realize it, but while it happens, it's very difficult to make that distinction. Mm-hmm. And I think of a third reason is that all are different. We have different ways of working, different ways of speed, quality of performance, quality of communication. People are different, and that's totally okay, because we need the variety, the diversity of people in an organization. That joining forces with different people is what unfolds our potentials. So we welcome differences. But at the same time, these differences create also subtle shifts in our understanding of our roles. And this is also, this creates also these gray areas where this kind of strict line, what belongs to a role and where's a gray area that is kind of vanishing, this kind of becomes then blurry. And this also causes these areas where monkeys then start to grow. And therefore my conclusion is that you cannot avoid monkeys. So my job is actually safe. We will, but the key is that we all are creating an awareness for these monkeys. We will never have no monkeys, but what we need is some more awareness to see them right in time to manage them.
Yeah, I love it. No, that was a great walkthrough of what that looks like in terms of why they exist. So that probably brings me to my last question to you, as we've explored why they exist and the phenomenon. What counsel, Manuel, would you give to managers who are trying to manage the monkey exchange between themselves and then those that report to them?
Well, I think there are three criteria that helps us to create some kind of coordinates to make the judgment whether we delegate well or whether we help in a real helpful way. And that is, first of all, time. So you need a clearly or somehow clearly defined time frame. So if your friend says keep the dog for 4 days, it should be 4 days, maybe 5, but not 3 weeks. So a time frame that makes sense and that it's clear. And number two is that the ownership stays with the person who delegates or who is being helped. The moment the ownership, sometimes people are happy to get rid of the ownership. And that moment is where the monkey starts to exist. So a clear time frame and the ownership. This is the two kind of criteria that one should keep in mind, and that helps you to have these coordinates to make that decision. And there is a third one, is that the person who you delegate work to or who is helpful, the moment this person is no longer able to fulfill his own original tasks, then there's something wrong. Then the task is, it's no longer helping, it's then rather carrying a burden for another person. So you always want to watch the time, the ownership, and if the other person is still able to manage his own time, his own workload.
That makes sense.
That's in a nutshell.
Okay. That's a really great nutshell. Well, I've seen from my own experience working with Manuel that he's mastered the trade or the skill set to be able to navigate these kind of conversations. So I want to thank you for being on the show today, Manuel, and may we invite you back another time, sometime in the future.
Yeah, it's a great pleasure, kid. So all the best for you and for the program that you are facilitating.
Very good. We'll talk to you next time, Manuel. And my name's Kid Owlis, and we'll see you next time.